Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Substack Writers Salon. And we have Renee Povada with us. And Renee she helps successful entrepreneurs build immortal authority through their self published books. Okay, welcome, Renee. So, what is immortal authority? I'm curious to see how I can build immortal authority.
Yeah. Natasha, thank you so much. I've seen you, be awesome on Substack and get around, and I love following your content. And I think we connected on some of your recent posts on how life is like an open world game, which I absolutely agree with.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So, Immortal Authority. I mean, this is the next level for a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners who have been in the game for some time. They've
Okay.
mastered a lot of skills,
Okay.
and they've been making content. They've made a lot of great money online, and they're ready for that next level of impact. They're ready for
Okay.
that next level of being known for their wisdom. Oh, Tom. I know Tom. We're going to meet. Hey,
Okay.
Tom. That's really what we're doing here. I was working with my client Valerie just the past week, and Valerie has been in the game for years now, and we have come up with a book launch strategy and a podcast episode strategy for her to weave in her spiritual journey, and how her spiritual journey relates to her business. And that's all about, how we launch books using your inner wisdom, not and proven methods as well. Over time, create a flywheel of book sales and momentum and authority that hopefully compounds.
Okay. So basically, just to put it in layman terms, since I'm old, is that you help people sell their self-published books, correct? In a nutshell.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
Why self-published books? Why not all books?
Yeah, that's a good question. For one, because that's the experience I've been in. I've never published books through a traditional publisher. I've
Okay.
only ever done it through self-publishing. And I started doing this from a course that I bought on YouTube from a YouTube ad. And they're like,
Okay.
sell books online and make money online and retire to Bali with your laptop. And I was like, yes, I want that.
Okay. Are you in Bali now? Just joking.
Not currently, but I did all of those things, and it wasn't ever, I was like, this is okay. I kind of want more from life
Okay.
after I spend time on anyway, and that's kind of the whole thing, right? Like, that's what the spiritual journey is. Like, you put this goalpost out there and you're like, achieve it. And then your soul wants something deeper, something more from life. And that's what I think a lot of entrepreneurs who are really good at like making things happen, that's kind of what they experience. But so I started my journey in self-publishing and learned the ropes of self-publishing. And so got good enough, I suppose, at self-publishing. But I've also become kind of a proponent of self-publishing because I love I just love the kind of like tenacious, like scrappiness related to self-publishing. Like, I think of like Taylor Swift and how she doesn't need anybody to be successful. Like, she's just successful on her own now.
Okay.
She got good enough at marketing, she got good enough at branding, she got great at sales and marketing and just being a brand. And I'm like, yeah, like, I want to work with people who know that they're capable of being their own person without some person coming in and saying, here, like, we'll help you, but you just have to sign away all your rights and, all your money and, and we'll help you. And then they help you. And then it turns out they really don't help you in the way that you thought that they would. But yeah, it's like, I love helping people who are just scrappy and want to figure it out. And those are usually actually some of the most successful authors that I've seen. Like, Robert Kiyosaki was originally a self-published author.
Mm.
Um, he was like, I gotta figure this out. I'm gonna roll up my sleeves and figure it out. And that's what he did. And even after he got picked up by a publisher, he's still out there. It's like that. It's more of mentality more than anything else.
Okay, let's do this exercise. I'm a
Yeah.
self-published author. I published two books, and I have one coming soon, and it's all self-publishing. I actually even publish under my own imprint, and I'm thinking of accepting others as well. So that's another project.
Great.
Maybe for 2026. So the exercise, I come to you, Renee. I have these books. They're selling okay. I have a big audience. How can you help me? What are the biggest things that I am doing that I am not doing, right? So for example, I have a newsletter, I have a YouTube channel, and I post about books. I have my books in my I have a podcast. I add, like, but there's I mean, there's a book here, a book there. It's nothing great. How what would you tell me?
Natasha. I could not tell you exactly what is going on until we really dive in. But this is a common thing that I see a lot of the time with a lot of prospects.
Okay.
They publish a book and then, so for example, like my client Amy, and you know Amy,
Yeah, Amy
right?
Sudo. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, she's like the queen. I mean, she's amazing at content marketing. She's got the TikTok audience,
Yeah.
Instagram, she's got all the things. And so for her first book, she published this awesome book, Six Figure Freelance Writer, and
Okay.
she had built up a TikTok audience of like 45,000 like people who want to be freelance writers. And she was like, perfect. This is the exact audience that would be perfect for this book. And so she wrote the book. And so she then says, hey, TikTok audience, go buy my book. And I I don't think it quite did as well as she wanted it to.
Okay.
Um, and that seems to be like a common theme. It's like you have all this content, you have the audience, and
Correct.
then you send them to the Amazon page, but the Amazon page has like 10 reviews. There's no momentum. People are like, what is this? And it's kind of like when you like kind of set up shop at like a farmer's market and you have this really brand new like lotion
Okay.
and there's no one outside your booth. No one's trying it. People are a little scared to try the lotion and definitely not really ready to buy the lotion just yet. So what
Okay.
you need to do,
Is call all of our cousins and ask them to come and try the lotion.
you are 100% right, Natasha. We
Okay.
need to get all of our people. And this is exactly what Beyonce did. So when Beyonce launched her Sacred hair care line in April, and I got the Ulta catalog, and it was like the first time I'd ever seen it. And it already had 5,000 5-star reviews
Okay. How?
because she rallied. She got all the cousins, she got all the people, she got everybody to say to pre-buy the Sacred hair care line, to try it out, to test it, to give her feedback. And this is all happening in like the pre-launch of her hair care line.
Okay.
And from all that feedback, she like primes the pump, so to speak. They're
Mm.
now like, Beyonce, we love this hair care line and we cannot wait to tell everybody about it. And then they're like, great, go to Ulta.com, leave your review. And so when it finally launches on Ulta, there's like 5,000 5-star reviews ready to then share with the millions of Ulta customers who now want to check out Beyonce's hair care line. And that's exactly the same thing we're doing with Amy's book. We are now using her Substack audience to sell pre-orders, to give away advanced reader copies, so that when her book goes live in January, they are ready to buy the book, download the book, leave a review, and then tell everyone about it. And it's kind of like a landmine. You know, like one landmine goes off and then it triggers all the other landmines and then more and more and more and more. And then all of a sudden you have a an explosion of network effects, which is how James Clear became so famous so fast. It's just like boom, 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 boom. You're creating this like domino effect really fast.
Okay. So in case of Amy, where do you think her audience are? On Substack or on TikTok?
Yeah, so she has a built-in audience on Substack for sure, and her TikTok audience is also is fair game too. It's nurturing these people and letting them know, hey, that this book is it's not live yet, but you get to get a sneak peek on this new thing that's coming out. It's like Beyonce's hair care line isn't out yet, but would you like to be a part of it before it goes live to the general public? Because of that exclusivity, people love exclusivity, people love new. Using these elements of human psychology, we are able to kind of prompt people and incentivize people to be like, yeah, I would love to be part of this new exclusive special club. And so that's what Amy's doing. She's using her Substack audience to find advanced readers who want to be part of her advanced reader team before her book goes live in January.
Okay. So I'm going to talk about where books are currently selling. Everyone is saying TikTok, TikTok. And I'm not sure if you agree with that and if it's all for book or for certain genre like romantasy or whatever. And the thing that I've heard, what's his name? This big marketer guy, something, or I forgot his name. Anyways, he's saying that use TikTok live shopping to sell your books. So I tried it, and I'm a boomer, so I go and I didn't know what I was doing.
That's fine. I'm
Well,
a millennial. I barely know how to use TikTok.
my kid called me boomer all the time. But anyways, so I go on the TikTok live shop and I'm just trying to see how I sell it. So I read from the book and I said I'm gonna give away a book for anyone who comment or whatever and follow. I didn't get much traction and I was like, okay, this I don't have time for this and I left. So where are we when it comes to TikTok live shopping or selling books on TikTok? I actually sold one book on the TikTok shop, which was
That's
uh,
great.
that yeah, it was. I just took the book, I took my book, I read from it, and then I created a shop using my LLC, and I put my books there, and it was a shoppable video. And one person's like, "Ooh, I'm gonna buy it," and she bought it. So that was yeah. So I want to hear your opinion about, is TikTok the place to sell shops? Is it overrated? What do you think?
I have never sold anything on TikTok Shop, so I
Okay.
actually couldn't tell you. But I've just heard great things. So the course that I learned, all the strategies I teach is called publishing.com. They now teach TikTok Shop to all of their nonfiction students.
Mm,
So it's like it's another skill to add to your tool belt. And I was talking with Eva, who's on Substack as well. She bought a nonfiction book from TikTok Shop, and she had like followed the author for some time, and was like, "I don't want this book. I don't need this book." Da, da, da. And then finally was kind of she eventually bought because she was like, "Yeah, I actually do kind of want this book." So I hear that it's definitely great, and I think it's very viable for people who love TikTok, who find it easy. And I think that's a big thing, is that if it's hard and you don't like it, then don't do it. Yeah, I think it's a big opportunity, but for people who are natural with video and editing video and that kind of thing, that makes a ton of sense, I would think.
mm. So, what is the number one mistake that self-published authors do when it comes to marketing their books?
It's a hard one to say. Because I've been there, I've made all the mistakes. There's a lot of them you can make. I'm probably making them some right now. I would just say that probably the biggest one that that has a big downstream effect, because if you make this mistake, it's really hard to recover. And you find yourself deep in a hole of spending money on all these different things, and it could have been resolved if you had avoided this mistake in the beginning.
Mm.
And my client Anne, so Anne did this for one of her books, and it's basically writing the book and getting so emotionally involved with it, creating the book, and then coming up with the marketing plan after the book is live.
Mm.
I've seen it work. Robert Kiyosaki published his book and then marketed it afterwards. But he had to hire. His books were Rich Dad Poor Dad was not a successful book at first. It was sitting in cardboard boxes in his garage for like several months, and he had to go through several marketing experiments and failures, and he finally figured out a way to do it, but he had to find the market. And then afterwards, he realized I probably should have written the book for the market, done all the market research and then written the book for that market first. But Anne was telling me about so she'd written a book about her ovarian cancer journey. And she had poured her heart and soul into this book. She spent a year on it. And then she was thinking, okay, so well, now what? Now that I finished the book, it's published. Where do I go and sell it? Who do I go and sell it to? Where's the market? And then thinking about the market, do they want a book like this? Why do they want a book like this? What are the current books that are similar to mine that could possibly be filling the same void that mine would be? What are the YouTube influencers that are filling the void for them? Like, could they be watching YouTube and watching Instagram and watching Substack Live rather than reading a book online? So you'll find that, and a lot of my internet interconnection's unstable. Sorry, y'all. A lot of people will find themselves, and I've done it myself before as well, where I'll write the book from my own heart, and I put everything I have into it, everything I've experienced, and then realize after the fact that people wanted a different book, maybe about the same topic, but maybe they wanted case studies, or maybe they wanted like a timetable, or like they wanted like graphs or something, just something different content. And being really clear on what the market wants and needs in your book, and creating the book for that is just going to save you so much time, money, energy, heartache in the long run.
Mm. So, what was the most successful thing that you've done recently to your clients that actually worked and maybe actually surprised you? You were not expecting it, but it just blew up.
It just blew up.
Something that, yeah, like you were surprised that this one client sold a lot from an Instagram post, or yeah, I mean, like something that happened recently that was a success story that you'd like to share with us, especially something that a bit surprised you.
Yeah. I wouldn't say anything really blew up.
Okay.
I think that's the reality. Like, the reality check is that all of my clients have put in the work, and they they pitched to podcasts consistently. They posted consistently. They, sent out advanced reader copies. So they did the things. And so nothing was like, whoa, like one thing like totally took off. But, I would say so for example, like my first client ever, she paid me $500 and we worked together for 6 months, and I held her hand throughout the whole thing, and she is a rock star, and a lot of it has to do with the author.
Okay.
Yeah. It's by no means is it me at all. I'm sharing and helping them and guiding them, but all credit is going to the author. Just like
Okay.
with like music, or like Taylor Swift, like the person who's like the marketing mastermind behind her brand is Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift. Okay.
Yeah. There's not like some like pie in the sky. There's not a publisher out there saving her. And she like nixed the record producers that were like, she's the mastermind. And so the people who are really successful own their marketing and own their process and own their success. But anyway, back to Beth. So I think this was surprising because she's my first ever client. So she sold through her hard work, sold 1,000 books in 6 months.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, she did a great job. And, you know, I was told at one point that you have to sell like 5,000 copies to make like any sort of like momentum. But she sold 1,000 copies and then took that and then ran with it. So in every pitch she then sent out, she was like, I've sold 1,000 copies already. I'm a #1 Amazon bestseller. My book is in libraries and bookstores. And so she just ran with that. So she like used that to then get onto like a local TV station. It was a state TV station. She got on top 2% podcasts. She got into like more podcasts and more speaking gigs, and she got a brand deal. So I always thought that like you needed to have like massive success, book success, before you can really before the doors of, PR open up for you. And I don't think that's necessary. I mean, for some people, 1,000 seems like a lot, but it's doable. And in fact, it's actually it's totally doable.
Okay.
Once you can like open that door, it sounds like that's like the thing that can like like the stream starts to take you and carry you. And that's clearly that has worked for her really well.
How do you feel about paid ads? And what paid ads do you think, like Facebook versus Amazon KDP and all of that, and Instagram? And how do you guide your clients when it comes to using paid ads for marketing your books?
So Amazon ads is bread and butter. I use Amazon ads for and by bread and butter I mean like it's just a part of the process, part of the proven process. It's part of the proven process that I learned how to sell books from in publishing.com. They teach all of their 50,000 students to use Amazon ads, and it's helped. Like my friend Dan has sold 40,000 books from it. My friend Ollie has sold 200,000 books from it. So Amazon ads is like it's amazing. It's great. You have to know how to use it, just like anything. And you need to be very cognizant of what you're spending versus what's coming out. There's also a learning curve. Just I think with any tool, there's a learning curve. But it has been awesome. And I think it's also really powerful for nonfiction because I was talking to, so I visit this like subconscious healer from time to time. Her name is oh gosh, I haven't seen her in a while. What's her name? I think it's Heather. Oh my gosh, she has red hair. Okay, sorry. But she was saying how when she buys books on Amazon, she usually buys them like she like gets an interest in something and wants to buy a book on it, and then she'll buy like 4 books that she thinks are somewhat similar to the thing that she's experiencing.
Yeah.
And Amazon has this feature where you can, people are browsing for books, and Amazon is the biggest, hungriest bookstore in the world. And you'll see there's this bar at the bottom where you'll find books that are similar to the books that you're looking at.
Yeah.
And they'll click 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 and they'll click. And you can use Amazon advertising to target similar books to yours and retarget books that people are buying, that are coming from and buying your book from that one. And it's so powerful. And that's how, I sold 15,000 copies and Dan sold 40,000. So, super powerful. And I can't speak at all to meta ads like Facebook and Instagram, other than I have spoken to several people, like prospects, who have tried meta ads and they said that it hasn't worked for them. I also know it's more expensive than Amazon ads. But if the goal is for it to be a loss leader, maybe some people, and I was talking to some other entrepreneurs the other day. His name is Will Brown. He's very experienced in Facebook ads. And so that just felt more comfortable for him to advertise a book on Facebook.
Mm.
But if you're really if you're like have like a limited budget and you don't know what you're doing with Facebook ads, I don't think I would recommend um selling a book, $20 book through a Facebook ad.
Okay. So you would say Amazon ads, and how would people learn how to use Amazon ads? Like, just go YouTube and look for tutorial on how to use Amazon ads. Like, how would people develop the know-how of
Yeah.
using Amazon ads, especially those scrappy self-published authors?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Scrappy self-published authors, the best. Yeah, you can, I mean, just like you could learn how to use it on YouTube. Um, and there's actually quite a few YouTube tutorials on how to do it. But kind of like with everything, like, are you learning how to become a real estate investor on YouTube, or do you like pay to be in like an exclusive mastermind to learn how to be a real estate investor?
Mm,
And
mm,
depends on like your level of commitment, depends on your level of experience. And so like I learned how to do Amazon ads through the paid course I learned it through publishing.com, and paid even extra for a consultant to help me.
mm,
And I help my paid clients with Amazon ads. If you sign up for our paid offerings, you learn how to do Amazon ads, you get support there. Yeah, we walk you through the whole process. So.
hmm. So I want to talk a bit about your business. I just read a post that you had that you like tripled or your income, or maybe your income is like about 10 times. So how did that happen? And I love the honesty that the first year like you made only 5,000. And not many people are willing to admit that. So I admire your honesty, especially in the culture of all the online bros who tell you they make millions every month. And so so
Not me.
so so that for me was like a hook to keep reading. Like, wow, you never gave up. But how did you do it? How did you get all these clients? And what was your mindset? Like, like F it, like why do I bother with this? Why can't I just go get a 9 to 5 job? I spent 1 year and this is so I want to talk about how you're doing it and what is the mindset that you developed to keep going.
Um, Very loaded question. I love this next question, Natasha. Yeah, I mean, there is no silver bullet. There wasn't like one thing that's like, this is the reason that I 10x my business in 1 year. And by the way, I use the word 10x because I know it's a hook. I'm
Yeah.
like, I made $5,000 year one and I made 50,000 in year two. Therefore, I can say, yeah, it 10x.
The next, yeah.
They're like, what? That's crazy. Um, but like, yeah, I mean, I remember like year one, and it was like, and it's also embarrassing because I considered myself like a marketing pro after having sold six figures in books, and I was like, yeah, I know what I'm doing, only to make like $5,000 my first year of my coaching business, and I was like, wow, maybe I don't know what I'm doing. So I felt really embarrassed,
Okay.
and I remember also think because I'm married and I live in the US, and so luckily there's that like where I get to ride on the coattails of my husband who works a 9 to 5 job.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I mean I felt guilty for like not pulling my weight, of course. And I was like, well, and I also, you think back on like what because I came from corporate and I was thinking, and I've been like wanting to build like a real online business for years at that point. And I was thinking, if I go back to corporate, it would be like dying a slow death at that point. It would be
Mm,
like, I don't know if I could. I mean, so at some point, and this is, I'm a big manifester. I'm a big spiritual principles, reality transurfing girl. And there was a point where I was like, I have to completely surrender. What is the worst outcome that could possibly happen? Basically, it would be I make no money and then my husband loses his job. What would happen if that, what would happen to us if that happened? And you have to do the mental exercise. Your anxiety wants to kind of fogs you from like following that path down. But
What
if
would
you follow
happen?
that,
What would
yeah,
happen if that happened? I'm asking
what
you.
would happen?
What would
Exactly.
happen?
So I'm about to say it. And so I followed that path down. And I was thinking, well, we would have to basically move out of our home and we would probably move in with my in-laws or my mom, and we would what? Then try to find a job.
Mm, okay. And was
We'd
that
have to sell.
scary? Was that scary?
So the scariest part was the anxiety of not accepting that reality.
Mm,
Once I accepted it, I was like, didn't Alex Hormozy do that? Didn't Wes Bergman do that? I know actually two entrepreneurs who are now successful in their own right or whatever, who had to move in with their in-laws. Is it that big of a deal? And so there's this conversation you have to have with yourself that I realized I had never had before.
okay.
Um, and once I was at total acceptance, I was in total surrender. That was
Mhm.
when I was totally free.
Okay. Okay.
And it could have been like, if the worst case happens, great. If the best case scenario happens, great. All's good. And that's like energetically when you're now no longer creating this force field on either way. Like you're just like you have now freed up the energy now. And I would not say that I did anything different to 10x other than I increased my prices dramatically. I used to charge my first ever client, I charged her $500. We worked one-on-one for 6 months. I then I was charging people about like $2,500 for 6 months of one-on-one work. Starting in 2025, it was $10,000.
Mm,
And I moved my group programs up. I had to build out the group program. I didn't have a group program, so 2025 was all about building out a group program. That was it used to be my one-on-one price. It became my group price. And tried selling it, had so many no's, had so many objections. Everyone was like, "What are you smoking?" I would doubted myself all the time until finally someone said yes. Amy said yes. Um, and that was game on. It was like once one sells, it's like you now have evidence. You now can tell your brain that there's one person, that means that there's another, another, and another. And there has been. And you just keep going from there. Yeah.
so how do you get the clients? How do you approach them? What's your kind of client acquisition strategy?
Yeah. That's a good question. And I'm curious to hear from you as well, Natasha. Like, I think
Yeah.
everyone has kind of different ideas and things they're trying. So the one that we're doing most often now is conducting a free workshop. A free like 3 to 5 day workshop, and that's where we present the sales presentation and engage people and show them the possibility of what they could have. And then yeah, and then enroll them if they're if they either want group or one-on-one. And that seems to be, it's not by any means optimized, but it's working so far. What about
H
you?
how often do you run these workshops?
Yeah, I've run it quite frequently in the past year. Like it was like once every other month. I think that was too much. I think next year we'll probably do them quarterly.
Okay. And what do you like, I'm getting just into the weeds here. So you build the landing page on like what platforms do you use like for all of that? And the
Yeah,
I mean like the funnels that you use, all that, like how do you do that technically?
yeah, yeah. I think like so. I had to just use what I have.
Mm,
So there was a point where I was like, I don't want to pay extra for another landing page software. So I just figured out how to build a landing page on Squarespace.
okay.
Um, and then connect it to my website. It's technically a page on my website. And one thing after another.
Okay. Hmm. Um, and did you get any clients from Substack, or where do they usually, like, where do they even usually see those webinars where they come and sign up?
Yeah, Substack is number one, mostly because I'm hanging out on Substack most of the time anyway. And I think there's probably a lot of people on LinkedIn who would benefit
Mhm.
from this message, but I'm just not. I can't. I don't like spreading myself too thin. I'd rather just hang out on one place and enjoy it.
Okay. Okay. And yeah, do you like, the reason I'm asking is, like, you asked me about what my strategy is. My strategy is DMs, cold DMs via LinkedIn. And that's where I get most of my ghostwriting clients from, mostly from LinkedIn, and book coaching clients as well. Um, but and I use LinkedIn Sales Navigator, which I've been playing a lot with.
Gotcha.
Um, that is my strategy. I'm not sure if it's the best strategy, and I keep tweaking it here and there. But so for you, like, you would see an author on Substack and you would just DM them and offer your services, or how would that happen?
No. No, and I think you're totally right, Natasha. I think everyone's different. I think everyone's kind of got something that feels more natural to them. Um, I've actually, I don't cold DM them. I only, so I have, the main Substack audience on email, and we now create this like separate Substack for our workshop. So we say, hey, this is our September workshop Substack. And if you want to be a part of it, simply subscribe to it, or we add them manually. I even reach out to people and say, hey, we're hosting a free workshop that offers this value.
Mhm.
Um, would love to have you if you can make it. And that separate Substack is kind of cool. It's kind of like a Facebook group where people kind of feel like they're part of like a club, and we engage in the chat there, and it's really only active for the workshop. And that's kind of like our little incubator to nurture people and pour into people and, yeah, help them see their possibility. And then, yeah, everything's kind of sent out, like including like the Zoom calls and everything that we're doing goes through that
Mm,
little mini
interesting.
Substack.
So I'm
Yeah.
looking at yours now, and so you have the smoking hot books, and then you have Renee's Substack. So what's the difference between those two publications? I see
And so you
myself
have
now.
the smoking
Okay.
hot books. And then
As very meta. So you have the smoking hot books, and then you have the Renee Substack. What is the difference between those two?
um, yeah, the Renee Substack is a personal blog. It's where I share just stuff that is on my mind. It's and the Smoking Hot is the business one, real business content, manifestation content, things like that.
Okay.
Um, and I mean, technically, I cross post across them.
Okay.
No strategy there.
Okay. Okay. Um, how about marketing funnels? Do you use marketing funnels? I think it was you maybe that said something called smoking hot funnels. Was that you? I can't
Yeah.
remember. Yeah, it was. Oh, I think it was you who had like a headline, smoking hot funnels, and I still remember it. And so, what do you do with when it comes to funnels? And uh, do you actually apply funnels for selling books? Do you create funnels for your clients? What is your strategy?
Well, for the book itself, for clients, yeah, of course, the main the bread and butter, the peanut butter and jelly, I don't know what other word to use, is to get readers into your sales pipeline.
Okay.
And that means signing up for your email list, signing up for your list. And that usually is a QR code or a website link inside the book that offers a bonus, something they can't get otherwise. And they see that you also have an online world too. Because, people who are reading a book, they it's physical, right? And we need to
Yeah.
transfer them from the physical world,
Ah.
sounds very meta, like you were saying, from the physical to the online world. And you can do that through sales pages in the back. You can do that through a QR code. I've seen books who they offer, like, every chapter there's a different bonus, and they say just go to this really simple URL, like jessicaswag.com/bonus, and they post it multiple times in the book so that you're like,
Mm.
okay. And eventually you go to get that bonus, and now you're on her list, and the rest is history. So yeah, that's really the overall goal. But the question is do you have enough books out in the world so that people are joining your list from your book?
That's interesting. I never thought of putting a QR code on a book. That's a great strategy. Um, okay. What is the I know, like, we're kind of running out of time, but what are the hot trends now in marketing books for 2026 that we should pay attention to? I mentioned TikTok Shop, the live shopping. What is one thing that, and the trends keep shifting. Some people like want their SEO to appear not on the website but on, like, AI, like ChatGPT or whatever. There's always these goals that people are trying to meet. Or so, what are the trends that we should keep an eye on?
Mm, it's a great question, Natasha. I'm not saying this that because I don't keep a pulse on trends, but at the same time, I don't really like. I don't. I'm just gonna be honest. I don't really like following trends.
Okay.
I don't like. Yeah, like, I would rather do the thing that I know
Mm.
works and is the still calm background that works every time. Because yeah, it's proven, it works. I know, like, someone was asking me about Alex Hormozy's book launch this past year, and it was, I
Yeah.
think, what, the biggest ever, right? But he wasn't doing anything necessarily trendy or novel or new. He was doing the basics over and over again, and that's he was asking people to come and be an affiliate and share the book and bring people in and incentivize people and buy books in bulk. And it's and I I've come to believe, and this is my personal philosophy in business too now, like, yeah, like, I ain't chasing no trends anymore. I'm just gonna do the basics over and over again. And I
Mm.
think that's what it means when people hear something that they've been hearing, but then they, like, hear the same message but in just a different way, and it finally opens up and they're like, "Oh, I get it." To me, that's service.
Mm.
That's like, wow, like, someone cared enough about me that they were willing to beat the hammer in so many times and finally give me the relief of illumination in my brain. Like, oh, I get it now. Like, isn't it so nice when, like, your kindergartner teacher is like, it's okay. Like, I know 2 plus 2 is hard, but have you thought of it this way? And it's like, yeah, thank you, teacher. So the basics are great, and the basics work, and they can be repackaged in different ways according to your creativity. TikTok Shop is clearly, like, a big trend that's booming, but TikTok Shop is not for people don't who like I can't even, like, get the editor to work. Even I struggle with that. So
Mm.
TikTok Shop is gonna be great if you know how to, if you gravitate towards it, love to use it. But if you don't do, and it's, like, not anything necessarily different from, like, podcasting or, like, sharing your bonus through a book, or it's the same basic principles over and over again, just in different modalities. So
Mm.
that's how
Mm.
I view it. That's how I would want all my clients to view it. What do you think, Natasha?
I think TikTok Shop is a big one, and also using the affiliates on the TikTok Shop. That's, I think, a big one. personally. Um, that's probably what I'm thinking of. But
Yeah.
who's one self-published author that you think is doing or has done an amazing job, as an example of a self-published author that's sold a lot of books?
Yeah. Um, um, there's a lot. You can go into the Substack and find some good case studies of
Mm,
self-published authors who've done really well. Um, let's see. There are some examples here. There's tons. I'm plugging all of my clients. They're amazing. Every single one of my clients has done awesome. I go back to Rich
Rich
Dad Poor
Dad.
Dad.
Yeah.
Um, this book. I was given this book from my dad when I was like 26 or something,
Okay.
and my brain was like, "Oh, I want to be an entrepreneur now." And I was following along, and I was like, "Maybe I want to be a real estate investor." Until I just realized that Robert Kiyosaki was basically creating a book funnel for his real estate consulting business through his book. And I
Oh,
was like,
that's true.
oh my gosh, I can do that because I sell books. I publish books.
Okay.
That
Okay.
realization was like you were saying, it was like so meta. And I realized that Robert Kiyosaki was not some like entrepreneur on a pedestal. He wasn't like some god or anything. He's just like you and me. He's a human being who's just been at it, who's believed in his message so deeply for so long that he cares enough about it that he's just pounding the pavement every single day. Boom, 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 boom.
Hmm.
And we get rewarded for it. And I believe that.
I think the last question, if there's one thing that an author comes to you or whatever and say, I don't have time, I only have one time to do one thing, what would you tell them? And when it comes to marketing their book, like they say, I have only one thing, like, whatever, Amazon ads, YouTube, uh, I don't know. So what would you tell them? One thing that all authors should do, all self-published authors should do.
Well, I would ask them what time they have. I would get some more clarity.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like I can dedicate 1 hour a day for marketing, and there's yeah, and that's the only time I have.
Yeah. I would say probably this that what you're doing with marketing, it's if you're doing YouTube over here, podcasting over here, Instagram over here, you will probably be on the 1 hour per day marketing hamster wheel for the rest of your life
Mm.
with not much to show for it. Emeke! Oh my gosh. I know Emeke. He and I went to Georgia Tech
Oh,
together. Anyway, um, but I would say consider wrapping all of the things that you're doing, whether it's your Instagram, YouTube, your book, all your ecosystem, and put it together into 1 hour per day into relaunching your book.
what do you mean?
I mean, instead of grinding it out and posting and posting and posting, please buy my book, please buy my book, please buy it. Instead, do what Amy Sudo is doing right now,
Which
which
is
is rethinking her book launch and taking what she has and revamping everything. Stopping everything she's doing with TikTok and all that other stuff and saying, I'm going to focus on relaunching my book on Amazon. I'm going to get advanced readers. I'm going to get pre-orders. I'm going to build a landing page for people to come so that when people do buy my book and they come on my landing page, they join my email list.
okay.
So that over the next 6 to 12 months, you have created a flywheel that gets easier and easier and easier to turn the wheel, and it gets easier to sell your book. More people are flooding in to your email list. More people are coming in, and it gets easier. And so now your book is complementing your Instagram. Your Instagram is complementing your YouTube. Your your YouTube is complementing your podcast. Everything now is synergistic and it's all one piece rather than we have isolated things. It's now just one thing.
So the flywheel, it always goes back to your newsletter. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. I would say.
So
Yeah.
the number one is the newsletter. I mean, because many authors don't even have a newsletter.
Oh, well, the number one thing is don't start a newsletter. I don't think so. I would say the number one thing is to do the relaunch of your book, which includes sending out pre-orders, sending out advanced reader copies.
By saying relaunch, which means, what does that mean? Like, you've already launched it, you're gonna launch it again? Is that what you mean by you saying relaunch? Okay, so you launched it with like a subpar strategy, and now you're relaunching it with a more kind of strategic approach. Okay, got it. All right.
Yeah.
So this this has been wonderful, Renee. We've been chatting for an hour. And so for anyone who wants to get in touch with you, hire you as their marketing expert, how can they reach you?
Oh, say that one more time. I think my internet went out.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, internet. For anyone who wants to reach out to you to hire you as a marketing expert, how can they reach you?
Yeah. So you can click on my name anywhere on this thing and then go straight to my Substack, the Smoking Hot Book Substack. I would absolutely recommend starting there. And yeah, like if you're on this hamster wheel of like that feeling of like you're just like grinding it out, there is another way where it feels like when you launch your book, it feels like a supernova of sparks, and everyone's coming to you for podcast invitations and speaking invitations, and that's available for you. So I recommend subscribing to the Substack, and get started there.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much. And for everyone who joined us, thank you very much. There was a question here. I'm going back about, what do you think of review copies? Question from Eric.
Review copies. Does that mean like advanced copies or copies specifically for a review? I think it's just a jargon
Advanced
thing.
copies, yeah.
I think people call the same thing different things.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it's the same thing, which it sounds like it is.
Yeah, I think it's advanced copies. That's
Yeah.
what I understood. Yeah.
Yeah, 100% all the way. It's amazing. It works. Yes.
Okay. Excellent. All right. I think I answered. The others were just comments, but that was the only questions that I found. All right. Well, thank you very much. And for everyone who joined us for another episode of the Substack Writers Salon, thank you very much. And until next time, thank you. Take
Bye,
care.
Natasha. Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.